Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unscripted. This show is sponsored by Paxton, commonly referred to as PAX, a meme coin project on the Solana blockchain positioned as a community-driven token inspired by the popular Pudgy Penguins NFT ecosystem. Go check them out. CA will be in the comments. And remember, always do your own research. This is not financial advice. The show is also powered by Print World, and go check them out. They will also be on the comments. And tonight we go unscripted with someone who understands what Web3 is. That Web3 isn't built by code alone. It's built by people. Shoot, I can't speak tonight, but we're going to pull through. Our guest moves at the intersection of onboarding, community, and execution. Not chasing noise, not selling hype, but showing up day after day to help projects grow the right way. He's been in the trenches with builders, founders, and communities focused on systems that actually serve the people inside them. Whether he's helping onboard users to next gen chains, amplifying emerging platforms, or reminding the space that integrity matters more than timelines. His approach is simple: build better, build fairer, and build together. This isn't a conversation about buzzwords. It's a conversation about trust, responsibility, and what it really takes to scale community in a Web3. So, welcome, Drew, aka 21, aka Captain Potastic.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Leslie. And I just got to say, the opening picture of you with that burrito is everything. I thought that was,
Oh, the burrito. Remember when I used to I it's been a minute since I haven't
yeah, it was
done
pretty fun.
my burrito post. I think they should come back eventually. But how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you. I just got home a little while ago, just in perfect time to get ready a little bit for this, and just a normal day at work. It was a good Friday, so I can't complain. So I'm here. Friday,
Yeah,
the day before, love day. So you got to be happy.
you have to be happy. That is right. So let's get into it. Okay, so what are we going to call you? Are we calling you Drew? Are we calling you 21? Are we calling you
We're
Captain
on, no, we're online, so
Captastic?
and I need to change that at. That's a little played out and it's a little outdated. So I definitely need to change that. All apologies, but yeah, you can stick with 21. That's cool. That's
21. Okay, well, so it's I'm like, I always call you 21, but I'm like, okay, give me a name 21 because then I want to be singing. What is that Drake song? 21. Can you do something? Anywho,
everybody does it. Everybody does it. Every space I go to, I at least hear it once. It never fails.
yeah. So you've been in this space for a long time and you've been building with different projects, scaling up and then moving. So when you first entered Web3, what did you think you were building and what did you later realize you were actually building? Because thinking you're building one thing and then waking up another day and realizing like, shoot, I
Uh,
was
That's
actually building something else.
Yeah, that's a tricky question. But I have some answers for it. So my entry to DeFi was right around I want to say 2021. I knew about I was trading crypto and I was on CEXs. Like my whole little crypto hustle was introducing
Mhm.
new people to CEXs and using the referral bonuses and buying crypto. So when Voyager hit, I lost like 4 bands on that. All
Yeah.
that crap we went through, and I think you were still y'all were still with Goat Team back then. Everybody was kind of starting out in this bull run cycle. So I actually won an NFT in 2021, and MetaMask was available where I live in Texas, but you couldn't actually trade on it. So I was able to receive that NFT, and that's what got me into actual DeFi all the way. So from there, it just kind of progressed. So going from my first project, Shiba Inu, working with them, working with the team and stuff like that, moving them forward, helping onboard things like that. Not only community members, but I wasn't around for Siberian days. We had already left and started another project by that time. But that's where it kind of all started at, and that was like I said, 2021. I think the crypto winter came, so we sat down, we sat through Bitcoin at 16K, all that good stuff. So that's when it all kind of started. So my entry to Web3 was kind of, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it. I knew the premise of why it started. It was supposed to give rights back to the artist. Artists were getting robbed at this point in time for their payments and their royalties. So Web3 was
Mhm.
a platform to be able to let creators promote their own content and remove the middlemen, such as Sony Music, things like that, Apple Music, people like that, and be able to earn money directly from their content. And then Web
Mhm.
all of a sudden just got absorbed into crypto. Like you don't really hear about Web3, the original OG premise of why it was created, and that's what it was. It was for the people by the people, and it was to put the power back in the hands of the people and the content creators, and that's what it was all about. So I think we kind of got it diluted a little bit with crypto. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident saying that because it's not. Web3 was an inclusion movement, and at the time that it came to crypto, we were very secluded, and
Mhm.
very not integrated at all. Oh, this is my chain, my project's red, yours is green, mine's better. You stay over there, I'll stay over here, and we'll just never connect. There was no interoperability, there was no cross chain. Bridges were far and few in between. Shit like that didn't exist, or stuff like that didn't exist back in 2021. So coming
So
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
I was just gonna say, just coming into it, building, that starting with Shiba Inu was just a single project, but it was very compartmentalized. That's
Hmm.
back in the days when you couldn't go to another community and post, "Hey, come stop by my space at 5 o'clock on Saturday if you're free." You were considered a leech, or I was part of a whole group that went after people that did that, and I highly regret it. That was one of the most ignorant things I ever did in crypto, was try to keep it secluded and try to keep it less integrated. And I really regret that was my entry to it. But we were we weren't trying to move together into Web 4 at that point in time. Web 3 was barely brand new, and a lot of people didn't understand it, including myself. So that was probably
Do you
my,
think that was a common theme back then, where it's like you were around circles and everybody had like their little cult, you know,
that's where
and you if you
yeah.
went outside of that, it's like you were either critiqued, you were told crap, and like you're saying, you were either a scammer or a leech. I mean, but why was that? And do you feel like we're also seeing that now? I think we're seeing it. Okay, so let me back it a little bit, because I think we're seeing it a little bit more face fronting now versus then. Then it was unspoken, but you knew.
That's exactly, and it's kind of, you knew. I don't know why. It was like an unspoken rule that you just stayed within your community. You just didn't. There was no cross pollination whatsoever, absolutely none, and no interoperability. And I just don't know. I don't know the reason for it. I think we were all new, and I don't think that interoperability was even in the conversation at that point in time. We were all trying to build faster because, mind you, this is the same exact point in time when
Hmm.
every fork in the world was created. 2021, you had what? I'll look up the stats in a minute, but I'm gonna say at least 100 to 200 forks created throughout 2021 to 2022. People were not building to innovate; people were building to make money, and that's what they
Hmm.
wanted to do, was cash in on the bull run. That's why you have people now saying, "Oh, well, I use a layer two." No, bro, you use a side chain because you're still using ETH for gas. That's why you have
Yeah.
the dilution of knowledge, because people weren't building by technological spectrum or technological specs. They were just building and putting buzzwords to it and calling
Yeah.
it what people wanted to buy. So that's yeah, that was probably some of the crazier times, and that's what makes our job harder now, because we're having to clean up the mess of 2021. So it's kind of people made money, and that's great, and that's awesome. But at the same time, for people that are still here trying to build for the actual applications, moving towards the future of Web 4 is definitely it's made my job harder for sure. I can say that.
Do you think there was a division back then too, between like the Web3 space, NFT space, and then crypto? And now we do see like all these spaces are merging. It's like
Yeah.
now it's everybody is intertwined. We're all mixed in. Like M&Ms and Skittles are all mixed in one bag.
Right, and we're like a freaking bag of trail mix now, and it works better, and it's better for you, right? It's more healthy. But yeah, it was so it was so compartmentalized back then. You were either doing like an NFT, you weren't doing an
Mhm.
NFT with a token, with utilities, you weren't doing any of that stuff. You were doing like strictly one thing, and that's why, you had people. I know there's a lot of projects that come out now. There's thousands of them that come out on Pump Fund a day, but it was the same way back then. And I think that drove a lot of compartmentalization because people didn't work together. People just kind of came out with their own stuff, was like, hey, I'm gonna do this, better, faster, and make more money off of it. So everybody was like racing each other and trying to build against each other. It was real PvP back then, as
Mhm.
opposed to it is now. I think that's a fair and safe thing to say.
No, absolutely. So you work deeply onboarding and with community. What do
Right.
you think people misunderstand most about what it really takes to build and trust a space? Because there's
Shit.
still a lot of distrust, right? And we still talk about onboarding. It's like we've been saying, oh, we're onboarding the masses, we're bringing normies. One of my friends recently introduced me to a new word. We're bringing in the pedestrians into this space. Like, but
We're rerouting traffic to our, hey, come on over here, come on,
yeah.
come to our show. No, I don't think we're having any of those serious conversations for the onboarding that we're looking for.
Mhm.
We're onboarding newbies. We're teaching our friends and family how to use crypto. I do it every day. We do it in spaces. We do it with every post and tweet and every everything we make, or every conversation we have about crypto. We're
Yeah.
onboarding someone, or we're spreading some type of good knowledge, right? Or at least we try to. But the conversations we seriously need to have is with big business, Fortune 500, blue chip companies, things like that. If you, and the reason I say that is because crypto, a lot of the things you hear, diamond hands, hodl, that's all came from GameStop. That's all GME lingo from Reddit from like 2020 and Roaring Kitty days. We
Yeah.
didn't come up with this in just recently. Hodl and diamond hands was from GME, which came from traditional finance. From people learn to come together, all would buy and hodl, and it drove a stock through the roof. Now, where else do we see that? We see that every day in crypto, right?
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but yeah. So I really feel like that kind of started it for us, and as we're moving forward, I think it'll definitely help us out if we kind of remember where we came from and in the unity, definitely.
Oh, freaking absolutely. So you've been close to founders, projects, communities during both hype cycles, quiet moments, bear market, whatever we want to call what we're going through.
Yeah.
What have these quiet moments taught you that the bull markets never could teach you? Because we learned
Go ahead. I was
different
sorry
lessons.
to that, but I remembered your first question. The community. It is absolutely. It is one of the toughest things to build a community where people only watch candles, and that's hard because you can't please everyone, and not
Mhm.
everybody's here for. I'm not going to say the right reasons, but for the same reason. You know, so
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong. We're all here to make money. Myself, yourself, everybody here is here to make money. But the point is, there's enough room at the table for everyone to eat like kings and queens.
But okay, realistically speaking, is there though?
Yep. Yep.
What makes you say that?
Because I'm gonna give you a prime example, and
Okay.
here's the best example that I can explain the future of blockchain in the
Mhm.
easiest terms. Okay,
Okay.
so when did you make your first online purchase, Leslie?
When did I?
Yes.
My first online purchase was, I would say, either December of 2021 or January of
So Amazon,
2022.
you never ordered anything off Amazon or any type of online merchant
My first online, oh, you mean online purchase, not
retail,
blockchain purchase.
not
Online?
anything, anything. Paid a bill.
Uh,
When was the last time you paid a bill, or first time you paid a bill online? I'll say early 2000s, late 90s,
I
maybe.
would probably say, yeah, early
Okay.
2000.
So take this in, for example. The internet was alive and well since 1950s. And we didn't start applying monetary applications until what you just say, 1999, 2000s, right?
The
But here
two
we are with
early 2000s,
blockchain,
yeah.
and here we are with blockchain, and we're doing all these monetary applications. But what do we really have? Okay, so I work in my in real life line of work lets me interoperate every day with a program called SQL, Structured
Mhm.
Query Language, which is a program that's installed into every iOS that runs Windows. It's a part of their operating system. What it means is it's a structured query language. So you're going to type in a command, and it's going to retrieve certain commands for you. So say
Mhm.
like I work in oil and gas. So say a valve gets too hot and I want to cool it off. So I'm going to store some commands to maybe open a valve to let some cooling water in to come and cool that valve off, right? So
Mhm.
that right there is the same. Where does that remind you of? A scanner. We sit down in front of a blockchain scanner, we type in a command, which is a contract address, and we get a packet of information in return. Same thing as SQL. We do it cheaper, we do it safer, we do it faster, and we do it more robust. Mind you, California just adopted Avalanche for their DPS, mind you. Imagine how much data is in a California state DPS, Department of Public Safety. Freaking a ton. And they're going to use blockchain. So what does that tell you? The data applications are where we went wrong. We went with monetary first. The internet was serving alive well through the 80s, the 70s, I'm sorry, the 70s, the 80s, is sending faxes, doing emails, but we weren't buying anything till way later. 50 or what, 30, 20 years or 20, 30 years later? Blockchain data application is where the money is. That's the future of blockchain. We can do things cheaper, safer, faster. We can integrate. We can do things a lot faster than Visa Network. Visa Network can give you 3,000 transactions per second. Solana can give you freaking 50,000. Some of them can give you unlimited. You know what I mean? As we move towards the future. So for me, those traditional networks are outdated and really need to be upgraded. So that's where I see the future of blockchain. And that's probably the best examples I can give you is we haven't even scratched the surface of what we can do with blockchain. We've been out here fighting over NFTs and fighting over, rugs and things like that and market caps. And that's not where it's at. It's not where it's at. We don't use GitHub enough, and we don't interoperate the code enough. Once we can figure out that, and we can start building together, we can absorb things like American Express Network. We can help. We can do more than just do Avalanche blockchain for DPS. You know what I mean? We can do a whole lot more. Imagine medical records. Imagine being able to give.
Okay, that's kind of where I draw the line. That's kind of where I draw the line because don't we want some type of privacy? Look, if we're putting everything on the blockchain, we know that everything is going to stay on the blockchain. I do believe that everything that's been created up to this point, not necessarily has to do with just the human element, but also with who are creating a lot of these applications, especially on the blockchain. And that is to give a window to the people that continuously keep us enslaved to the financial system, to whatever system, especially here in America. And then by putting everything on there, it's going to give a lot of these companies more leverage, right? Specifically like the medical records, right? Now they're going to have medical records about you, what's going on with your body, etc. Those are going to affect insurance premiums, the way they care for you. I just think that the whole freaking healthcare here in America is a freaking financial scam to start off. But I mean, putting everything on the blockchain, isn't that going to give them more leverage, control? Like we are saying, okay, it's decentralized, but at the end of the day, I mean, should everything be put on the blockchain?
Well, I don't know. We could look at it like this because we could see what they're actually paying and what it costs them for research and development and to produce a drug. And then I think what was his name that produced the HIV pill that overcharged about like 17,000%. Remember, he stood trial for that for basically price gouging. And the reason I say this, I've been a type 1 diabetic since I was 8. So I know there's a monopoly between the medical. I'm very with you on this, on the medical people. I'm very up to date on that. But what if we could have them put it on chain, what it's actually costing them and what you're actually charging your consumer, and come on, bro, like, 1,700% markup from what it's costing you to produce this medication. I mean, that would be transparent on their end as well. So we might have
it's only here in freaking America where they charge the shit up out of all of the, whatever. You go to any other country. I live right here, very close to the border. I walk to Mexico, and sometimes I'm able to get medication for a fraction of the cost. And people are going to say, oh, Mexico. But let me tell you, medication in Mexico is a lot freaking better. I get freaking my sickness a day or whatever after, I'm good. My allergies, drops, whatever, a lot better. But here, I think that the financial system, and even Tammy, in the comments said, the healthcare system is designed to keep you sick, not healthy. That is so freaking true. How much shit do they put in the fruit products is approved through FDA, and they make you freaking sick and are banned in other countries. And although I do agree with, okay, maybe putting it on the blockchain, the cost of certain things, I'm like, at this point, they should really freaking abolish some of the healthcare.
So let's look at it from another perspective. So say like your food, if you want to talk about like vegetables, it would be great to be able to trace your source of food, the corn that's on your table, from the time it was incepted, what farm it came from, and what you'd be able to do with blockchain. You'd be able to trace its inception from the time it was grown, who harvested it, who picked it, who brought it to your house, who did all that stuff. I mean, that would be kind of cool. I've always been a fan of that one.
I think so too. I don't know. I
know it's a give or take. I know it's a give or take. We gotta learn to dance with them though. I mean, we gotta give up a little bit to give. I mean, that's just how I look at it personally. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get everything we want without having to give up a little bit on our end as well, which might be a little bit of comfort.
No, I agree with that. Now, okay, so on to the next. So now you've openly criticized systems that encourage people to hold while insiders exit. Was there a moment that changed how you view your responsibility in crypto?
Yes, there was. That would have been, I'll just say I'll say February, March of last year. And my views changed. And that's when I realized I wasn't really working for the people. It was more so for the project. And some projects are not so much here for the people. And that's cool. That's fine. But that's not the premise that I go out there and work under. I go out there and do justice for the people. Like I'm not here. This crypto is a hobby for me. Like I'm not dependent on crypto. It doesn't pay my bills. It doesn't feed my children. It's a hobby. It's something I'm passionate about for starters. Okay, so it's not just something that I do because I can make a quick buck on it and then I go to sleep at night. When I go to sleep at night, I think about this stuff. Like, man, how can I actually help people learn? Because there's a lot of when we came into it in 2021, nobody told us anything. They just said do DYOR. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Do your own research. Like how do you work a scanner? How do you do any of that stuff? So yeah, I'd say about March or April last year, when I left my previous project, I kind of wanted to focus more on the people and the projects and the people building. So I was able to meet a lot of founders and a lot of builders who I'm not going to say didn't know what they were doing, but just needed help, just needed a point in the right direction. Because some great people, some awesome parts, some awesome projects, some great communities, and just needed like a little bit of help, maybe some shield art created, maybe a mod in their Telegram, something like that. So I wanted to be able to help all projects build transparently, and that's why I kind of went the way I went. But although I'm with a project now helping build a new blockchain that's a little bit different, and they're more open to me being able to support the person I become and the projects I've built and the relationships I've built previously in this space. So that's been really, really cool.
Yeah, I think you've been very passionate about that. So now you're involved in projects that blend technology, media, and culture. Do you believe Web3 succeeds or fails based on tech, or is it the human behavior?
It's going to be both. It's going to be both because the tech isn't made to connect. These chains were made 15 years ago. I love Ethereum. I love it to death, but it's going to come to an ending point. It can only scale so much.
You really think so?
Yeah, scalability is the new thing. So you're talking about mesh chains that can absolutely infinite scalability. And the reason you're talking about that, so whenever you build games on blockchain with infinite scalability, you're building a game with no ceilings. For the first time ever, Nintendo can't even build a game with no ceilings. That's more of like a designer and programmer thing, but they'll get that, what I'm talking about. And blockchain is the first environment that permits game builders to build with absolutely no ceilings, which in layman terms means no limitations. That's why we have virtual reality, things like that, metaverses, things like that on chain, because there's no ceilings and you can do whatever you want on a blockchain. So that's just, I'm really, I think that's going to be, Sorry.
Okay, so when you're talking about Ethereum eventually is going to die, etc. Well, how do you?
But it'll
not die.
It'll reach its end.
Yeah, but like reaching its end. So then, what do you think about Aztec? Did you hear about Aztec Network, the first decentralized privacy preserving L2 on the Ethereum network? That now it's news and now it's out there. So if your statement is true, then how come, companies still want to build and scale on Ethereum? And then, you already see what president and his sons and family members are doing, especially with, I am going to say it, with some of the funds from the Trump token. And now they're also building on Ethereum network.
Now, if they find a way to figure it out, and I don't know how exactly they would with something so early on. Ethereum is an older chain, so it's going to be hard. But at the same time, every chain after that is EVM. So I got a whole list behind me: Polygon, Base, Avalanche. What else? Freaking. Hang on. Base, Arbitrum, Ethereum, Polygon, BNB, AVAX, Optimism, CeeLo. There's a lot of chains that are actually EVM. So EVM has a future, but I don't know if Ethereum will, because it does have some limitations. So maybe I said that improperly. But the Ethereum virtual machine factor, I think maybe they can find a way to make it work. Because a lot of chains that are based are EVM. So it's like I said, if we can make this code interoperable and have them communicate with other chains, then there's no need you can keep on scaling.
So what do you think of the statement, where a lot of people make that Ethereum is actually the chain of the wealthy, and that's why it sits there with the gas, and the other ones, it's more of like the peasants or whatever you want.
The penny stocks. That's what my friends tell me. My in real life
Yeah.
friends tell me I'm trading penny stocks on Wolf of Wall Street when I trade on Solana. So they're so it's yeah. I think it has a better reputation. I think we all start. I know I started with Ethereum. That was my
Yeah.
first download of MetaMask. That was my first NFT. Everything was on ETH. So it taught me a
Mhm.
lot. So it taught me community. That's where I learned community from was on ETH because you don't. I'm not gonna say you don't have community on Solana. Solana, I love you to death. I love everybody on there, but it's different. It's a
It's a
different
free
vibe.
for all, kind of.
It is, yeah, and it's very different than if you came up on Ethereum. You can always tell an Ethereum emoji from other people. So yeah, it taught me how to hold up and down. It taught me how to ride a project right back down to zero if it went down. So and I learned that from Ethereum because you were safe. You didn't really have to worry about rugs back then. It wasn't a thing. And I think it costs more to build on Ethereum, so you're more or less likely to maybe run into rugs and things like
I
that.
mean, the gas fees are so freaking high on Ethereum that it's like if you go in it on a token, there's no way you are going to exit for cents, right?
No,
Because it's going to cost you so much money, even for dollars. And Solana, that's all you see. You go in and people are just clicking for
right.
cents, and you're like, make that make sense.
Making dump. No, I'm not gonna say dumping, but like investing $700 to make $5 in 10 minutes. Like that's crazy to me. I don't understand. I don't get that.
Yeah, it literally is like
But
trading,
each,
but
each their own.
not.
Each their own. Everybody has their own style. Maybe they might be killing it every day with that $2. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a crazy world. Okay,
It is.
so we were talking earlier about you going on to killer whales.
Oh wow, yes, that was cool.
Walk us through that process of did you apply and then you getting there and the emotions, all of it.
Sure. So I'm walking through. I'm gonna turn my air vent off for 1 second. Okay, so we did have to apply. And we had a great community behind the project that I was with, at that time. And so we actually applied the year before. So I was on there the summer of June, whatever, in 2026. So that would have been
Mhm.
2024. Yeah, 2024. I would have been on the summer of 2024, June. Matter of fact, is whenever we were on the show. So we had applied in 2023, but we didn't meet the requirements community wise because it was like a voting process. And we
Mhm.
didn't meet the requirements to be able to be accepted to the next round. But come 2024, we did. So that was really, really cool. We had a strong community that showed up. I think we placed second, actually. We had I can't even remember. I know it was in the hundreds of thousands of votes. So it was a lot up there. And they put in a lot of effort voting every day for shit. I can't remember. I think it was multiple months. It was like 4 or 5 months every day worth of voting. And we absolutely killed it. So that was cool. Getting on there. I wish that I would have had a technical understanding that I wish I would have had a greater technical understanding and not so much marketing because my role with that project was marketing, strictly
Mhm.
marketing and collaborations and onboarding projects. That was because it was a blockchain. So that was my role. But I wish I would have been more technically savvy and caught up to where I am maybe now. That way I would have been able to help out some when my teammate kind of fumbled the question. So it kind of gave us like a not a bad vibe, but it was like, man, they couldn't really explain it as it needed to be. So that's whenever I was like, man, I should have been able to step in. So that actually changed my point of view on how I needed to educate myself actually. And it wasn't so much marketing that I needed to focus on. It's just what am I marketing and how can I make that more explainable in layman terms as if I'm talking to just a regular everyday person. And that's what Killer Wells taught me because I mean, having that experience, and I was like, man, we can't even explain the tech we're freaking building. So like, I need to be able to break this stuff down into normal terms to where people can understand the usability and the applications as opposed to just the buzzwords and the key terms. And that's what kind of gave me my dislike of buzzwords actually. But no, we had some great judges. I know Wendy O was one of them. Rain was there. We had a new fellow, but I couldn't remember his name. But what's his name? The producer fellow, he was there, and he was pretty cool too. I mean, everybody was great. They were honest, and that was the most important part. I really do appreciate the honesty because it did make me redirect not only my path, but my path is what I needed to learn. As far as technological stuff and actually
Mhm.
being able to explain blockchain and what I'm building, and actually know what I'm building, and being able to ask the people I'm working with the right questions to be able to make sure that we're building the right product. So it did teach me quite a bit, and I was very, very thankful for the experience. The producers were great. It enabled me to actually become an ambassador for the Hello Labs and Killer Whales as well. Working with the founder and the owner, he was a really cool dude. I was able to get him. Remember, we were supposed to go to Amsterdam. He was actually in Amsterdam at that conference. So I was able to get him to speak there. I wish I would have been able to meet again and meet up with them again, but it's pretty cool. So hopefully we're going to Poland in September. So hopefully we'll be able to link there or something like that. So yeah, it was a great opportunity. I think I'm the only one from the project that kept in contact with them, and I'm so glad I did. And it opened up a lot of doors and just helped me to see a different side of crypto and where it's going and what people are trying to do with it. And made me more bullish about it, honestly, in the end. And I'm glad I was there, and I was glad I was able to take part in that experience. I'd never been to LA before, so that was kind of cool.
That is so freaking awesome and dope. And was it like a surreal experience overall?
Being on TV, it was, because you were there and you saw like all these different cameras and stuff. So it was like you knew you were on TV, but you didn't quite know. But then they would stop, and then you had to do it again, and it kind of felt like what you would imagine TV being like. And then you're like, okay, but then seeing it all put together, the team did an absolutely great job. I can't thank them enough. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, really. If y'all see this, I mean, big shout out to Wendy too. She kept it real with us on stage, and she told us what we needed to hear, and that really helped out. I know the team wasn't happy about it, but I was absolutely appreciative of it. It was exactly what we needed to hear. So
I love her. She's just gonna keep it raw and real every single time.
And the producers were great. Bijal, if I mispronounce it again, forgive me, but he was a great producer. They were all just the team all around was really, really great. Took very good care of us while we were down there. Made sure we had everything we needed. Worked with us leading up into the show, actually helping us build our presentation, doing Zoom calls with us and things like that. So it was a really good production, and it went successful. And even though we didn't get our 5 votes for it, I think it was still a success because it helped me explore different avenues, and it helped open some new doors. So I'm really cool. I'm really thankful for that. So
where is the project now?
Down.
Can we talk about it, or is it
it's not online. It's not online, and liquidity has been removed. So that's all you really got to know,
Okay, so
that should tell you enough right there. But that's why I'm thankful. I got went back to being a free agent. Like I said, the chain I'm with now is absolutely it's great. It's a whole new consensus. It's something totally different. It's a great team of people from Australia, and it's a really close knit small group. So
is it really so the other project? It's not the one that I knew you for, right?
No.
The one that Killer Whales.
Yeah. It was a Killer Whales project. Yeah.
Part of it is in your name.
Oh yeah, I know, right? That's why I said at the beginning I need to change that because I keep walking around with it.
Come on, 21.
I didn't want to. I know.
You gotta move it out your name. That's what I'm like.
I know, and I'm glad you called me out on in public too.
No,
I need to do it. I need to. No, it's gonna make me do it tonight. Watch, I'm gonna go ahead but I wanted to wait till I didn't have my blue check, and it kept renewing, and I kept wanting to cancel it. It kept renewing automatically. I'm like, crap, I'm gonna lose it for 2 or 3 days. So I just stopped it. That way I would do it whenever I lost it, but I just been procrastinating.
Yeah, no, I want to ask you questions about it because my understanding, it's like certain things were being built, but okay, we're gonna stay off topic on that one, and we're just gonna move on because now you are working with a new chain. So
right.
My understanding of the chain that you're working with, it's like they're new, they're starting off. So I want to ask questions, it's like, how new are they? Are you seeing some differences, based on your experience working with the previous to this one? And do you think that this one possibly has the durability or the endurance to go longer and build for a longer period of time versus like what you've worked with in the past?
Yes, I do actually. It's a brand new consensus. It's actually math. It's something I've never really worked with before, so I'm very, very excited about it. And it's written in Rust, of course. So that's really, really bullish. So
it's written in what?
Rust, the language.
What the fudge is that?
It's like a code. It's like Java, and how that's what you write blockchain.
Yeah,
they're going to be Java. Your EVMs are going to be like Java, Golang, maybe Solidity, something like that. I think Solana is Rust, and Radium's Rust.
Okay, got it.
Rust and stuff
It's
like
the
that.
language. Okay, got
Right.
it.
So this one is actually all about infinite scalability. So I'm gonna read you a quick something from our website real quick. So just that way I don't mess it up. I'd much rather just read this.
Okay.
Scalability is the core limitation of most legacy blockchains today. Hence ETH, Bitcoin, all those. Even when networks claim higher throughput than others, they still operate on a fundamentally linear state transition model, a single ordered execution pipeline, which is very true. That single pipeline becomes the bottleneck. Most blockchains rely on a global mempool, sequential block production, and a single chain of state mutation. No matter how optimized the hardware or consensus mechanism is, there is still one ordered progression of state. Under load, that structure naturally creates congestion. So, what we do at Redium is instead of optimizing a linear bottleneck, we remove it structurally. And this is where it gets really, really freaking cool. Redium operates as a deterministic 3D prime mesh rather than a linear blockchain. Block IDs are mathematically pre-computed. Planning is separate from execution, and multiple blocks can be open, accepting transactions in parallel. So that's how you run. That's how you run multi-dimensional blockchains. There is no traditional global mempool. Transactions are routed in real time into pre-created waiter blocks. Execution capacity scales horizontally as the mesh expands. So there's where you have infinite scalability. So and Radium also separates transaction finality from block finality. Workers finalize transactions independently before they are sealed into blocks. Suits then finalize the blocks themselves. This decoupling reduces rollback surface and allows faster hard confirmation without waiting for block level consensus cycles, which is something we're all used to because it's on every chain before this one. So it's about in practical terms, we eliminate the traditional queue model. Basically, we don't wait for the next block. We route into available execution containers. So whatever's available to execute that transaction, it's going to send it there as opposed to just routing it through that one linear pipeline, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's open. It's more like a mesh. So I can put transactions over here, top left corner, bottom right corner, this way over here, as opposed to just feeding them through one pipeline. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it so pretty. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's and it doesn't rely on a proof of work or pure proof of state. It relies on deterministic mathematical block derivation, prime-based linking rules, and atomic structural constraints that prevent forks by design. Blocks are not one, they are mathematically derived. This is a proof of math, not proof of hardware, proof of capital. So it's really something new. I'm still learning quite a bit about it. But like I said, I'd love to take this. I loved whenever they gave me this offer. This was last year. I've been working with them since, kind of on the back end. But since I learned it was infinitely scalable, I was like, oh yes, this is definitely for me because I love the interoperability for it. So I mean, we're talking, launch pads can be built, gaming, things like that. I think as soon as we go live, or not as soon as we go live, but pretty shortly after, we're going to be ready for dApps, which is going to be super, super cool because that's when you come into the data, moving data up and down the blockchain. And that's what I'm really, really bullish on. So I really do love that about this chain.
So how did you learn about them, or how did you guys cross paths?
Actually, they found me. They knew the previous project that I was with. We had done a few Web3 global media. One of my other ambassador programs that I'm with. We'd done a few spaces together, and they had heard me talk about interoperability and being able to connect things, APIs, endpoints, things like that, blockchain, nerd stuff. And they sent me a DMs, and we just started kind of chit chatting and talking. And really, it was just kind of a friend thing in the beginning. I just kind of offered them some, friendly. I feel like you should take this direction and maybe help out here. And it was just kind of a conversation, and then it kind of led to, would you like to be part of the team? And I accepted it with open arms. I was really, really excited, and still very, very thankful to this day for it.
You were like right away.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it because, as you know, now I have a budget to market with. We can actually do some real freaking marketing. My previous project was all I paid for half of that out of my own pocket.
Oh, damn.
I ain't gonna lie to you. But now it's actually a real project that's excited to build for the people and build for the future as well. So I think that's really, really cool. Anything that's
people build for the future.
Yeah. Now you know how I am with the future. Right? That's all I talk about, building for Web4.
So when you explain the project, like if you're pitching it to somebody, can you now pitch it or explain it to somebody that may be watching or listening that knows absolutely nothing about blockchain? And we're trying to educate or teach. Because even though I am in this space, I am crypto. Sometimes I'm like, what the fudge are they talking about until I research it?
I do it too. Don't let me fool you. Okay, so what does that mean? Is so say you're driving down the highway, right? And you have a wreck, and you have to all say you're driving on a 4-lane highway and you have a wreck, and they're making all 3 lanes get into 1 lane of traffic. What do you have now? A bottleneck effect, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing happens with crypto. A blockchain in traditional form is just a linear one-way path. It's like a pipeline that just goes one way, and that's where your blocks go. Blockchain is actually moving a block of information down the chain. That's why whenever you send a contract address, you get a packet of information back, which is a block. You get that information back. So it moves in blocks. Everything on there, the information moves in blocks. So whenever you hit that bottleneck, you're going to go as fast as the transaction in front of you and as slow as the one that's behind you. So what if you had a way to, when that happens, open up 3 or 4 different lanes? Now you can place these transactions. Okay, you have an open lane, so you have an automated system that's okay. Here, let me put you there. Let me put you there. Let me put you here, and then this will keep all these transactions going faster. This one can do this one faster because that lane's open. Let me put you here. Let me put you there. And now you have traffic going through 5 or 6 different mesh lanes as opposed to just that linear, straight structural pipeline. Does that make sense?
Okay, got it.
Sorry, I explained it like that to begin with. My apologies.
No, it's good. I was like, okay, wait, explain it to me. Like, I understand the concept of it, but I really don't understand, like, okay, what the functionality is. Like, how would it serve me? Like, why would I want to, like,
you want that because now you know what you're going to pay in gas because it's proof of math. And so it might go off the weight of the block, which is actually pretty cool too. So you can actually know your gas price prior to going into your transaction, because you're going to know it's going to be scaled off the weight of the block, not so much the congestion. And with less congestion, you're not going to have a need, or if you're not paying for gas fees on congestion, so that's going to be a lot cheaper, right? So you're talking about a quality chain like Ethereum that can cost you prices of Solana, basically.
I see, said the blind mice. Okay, so I know we're coming close to that hour, and I still have like a few more questions for you.
Ask away. I was ready. I didn't know what you were going to ask, so I was like, you know what, 21, she's going to ask you everything, so just be prepared.
Look, I wasn't going to ask you crazy stuff. It's just
I was ready for it, though. I was hoping for it.
Ready for it all. Okay. Tell me, get down to the nitty gritty, the dirty, the ugly stuff that happens in this space. No, I'm kidding. How do you stay consistent in a space that constantly rewards noise over substance?
I come from a very chaotic life. My upbringing was very chaotic. I actually find peace in what we do, to be honest with you. I like being able to help people anonymously without asking for anything in return or not expecting, and being able to, just kind of show up. And the one way to do that is to be consistent. It's all, like you said, it's all about consistency. So it's better to be seen and not heard. And especially in this space. And that's why you don't see, I mean, even though I'm working on my, I think second account now, but I don't have a lot of followers, but I've had accounts with 100,000 followers. So it's not about your followers, it's the quality over quantity. So that's why I tend to be able to show up. I've got support from, like yourself, wonderful Tammy, Stacky, all the legends that I still, talk to every day. That kind of growing with those types of people in this space and being able to interact, with legends like yourself and everyone else, all my road dogs from Shiv days, Sir Shields, people like that. It does feel like a family. I don't have a big family at home. Actually, I am the one and only surviving member of my immediate family, all due to drug addictions and things like that. But I came out with 2 college degrees, and actually, I consider myself super successful, actually. So every day that I'm alive, I recently lost my father to a suicide, September 30th of last year. So he was the last one. And so mother, sister, father, everyone's died from drug addictions. But I myself have been quite successful with that, and never been, I ain't gonna say addicted, because I used to, smoke a lot and sip a little drink here and there. But, I've done my habits in the past. But being able to show up every day with the consistency is because it's the people that I'm around, I do actually love. We use the word fam very lightly in this space, but when I say it, I actually mean it. And there's not anybody that has my phone number in this space, I would literally drive if they call me and say, "Hey, I need you to come through." Okay, cool, dude. I'm on my way. No matter what state you're in, on fly, whatever the case may be. So, I've met some really, really great people. I've met some awesome people that I really, that I like yourself and everybody else, that I talk to in real life and that I've learned a lot from and been with, and just we've never, asked each other for nothing, but we've always been supportive. And I think that's just one of the key golden things. And I couldn't be more thankful for that. So that's what helps me show up every day. It makes my day when I'm able to get up and just tweet good morning and have someone, hey, good morning, cool. Maybe help someone have a good day. They might have been feeling bad that day, but I feel like we have a lot of power within our tweets. We have a lot of power from within the words that we use. And I know I wear my heart on my sleeve sometimes, even though I'm from the hood and grew up
Yeah.
basic, but definitely wear my heart on my sleeve. And I'm a very emotional person. So that's why I kind of grow attached to this space and to the people that I meet in it that actually really care about me and that I actually really care about. So yeah, I think that's and when you have that blessing, it's really easy to show up every day. So I can really probably attribute it to that alone, probably.
No,
The money's cool. Don't get me wrong, the money's cool. We all make money here and there, but it's not why I show up. It's definitely not why I show up. My P&L right now is probably like negative to 7,000. But but let's that's why I'm too much on Solana. But yeah, but I definitely show up for the people, and because I do like the technology and I do like building and being able to help people. I think it's cool. We live in a world where people can log onto a computer and exist in a world that does not exist. It's kind of like the movie Swordfish. You could just make money out of thin air. And I love being able to show people that, like, hey, dude, this is how you do it. Like, I got a Discord server where I helped my Uber driver learn crypto the other day. And I helped him how to learn, and I download a Phantom wallet and got him going. So just being able to show people like that in real life, it really does help me out. Whenever they understand it and they get it and they become successful, that's really cool. And I really like being able to give someone that power, especially in this country where things are so up and down, and in this life where nothing's really promised, and we're never guaranteed tomorrow. So I definitely love that aspect.
we are definitely not guaranteed to tomorrow. 21, you've had a lot of loss in your life, and I've known you for a few years. A lot of us have known you for a few years, and you're always very happy, very cheery. And some of us, it's like we lose one person and it's like we're dying, and the whole world is crumbling. So it's like with you, it's person after person. How do you stay grounded? How do you stay alive and push through the will of continuing?
It's been I grew up rough. I grew up very, very rough. I've had, like I said, type 1 diabetes since I was 8. I had a heart attack when I was 12. My family was too poor to buy my insulin. Like, it's been rough since I was a
Wait,
kid.
you had a heart attack when you were
12, because my family was too poor to buy my insulin. My father was an alcoholic. My mother was a drug addict. I mean, it was crazy. I found the streets at a very early age. So I found money. I found out what people would do for money at a very early age. So when I found crypto, I was like, yeah, there's some rugs, but there's some cool people here that don't know me from Adam. They don't know what I have at home. They don't know who I know. They don't know me, because I'm used to people like, oh, that's so and so. Let me go be best friends with him because he can, that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like that with crypto. They didn't know me from anything, and I was just able to help people anonymously and just kind of boom. But yeah, growing up the way that I did, and that's just how I'm able to stay very happy, is because it is my happy place. I know, as weird as it is, as chaotic as it is, being in Web3 and here online with y'all, rapscallions every day. That's what makes me happy. That's my happy place.
Is that why you're also very protective? It's like of the people stealing here, scamming. And then, I know that you and I have had conversations, and certain projects or aspects or people. And I know you're very passionate when it comes to people taking from other people or scamming. And even though it might not seem like it's a scam at that point.
Right. Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what it is too. Because I know I've fallen. I still get rug, dude. I think I bought a rug like 2 months ago. I mean, dude, remove liquidity like that. And I was like, you know what? It infuriates me, and I don't want them to get anybody else. So that's mainly why I try to stay as protective as possible. And in any Telegram that I'm in, I always volunteer to be, moderator or whatever, Discord. Stacky keeps me busy as fuck with Aces. But I mean, I love being in there. I love being in Ace. Aces Illuminati. If you ain't found us by now, please do. Please do. It's wonderful there. And it's yeah. Come on through. We'd love to have you.
Stacky's chat.
Yeah.
My boo, that's my boo, Stacky girl. Okay, so when things get quiet
Mhm.
in the market, everything, the noise, what keeps you grounded?
That's when builders build. Honestly, it's cheaper for one. I mean, it's cheaper to freaking build in the bear market, and
Yeah.
that's what builders build. And then that's something I learned not until I became. I'm gonna say probably with the last project I was with, we learned that in the bear market, builders build, and people other projects just try to build hype and buzzwords, but that's when that actually builders will build. That's why whenever the next bull run does come, you're already good to go, hit the ground running. So I've learned to try to stick with projects who stay building regardless of markets, regardless of charts. I love founders who tell their communities, don't worry about the charts, don't look at them.
Hmm.
Pardon me. We're going to keep moving forward. This is what we have going next. I'm still a big fan of roadmaps. Those seem
Yeah.
to have died out. I don't know why. White papers, remember that shit? White paper,
White
remember that?
Yeah, white papers, roadmap. The roadmaps, I think for some projects it was good. For others,
Right.
like a
It's
mini
unnecessary.
token that is just, yeah. For certain things, yes. Now, white paper, I do think that that's crucial,
Right,
especially for something that you're going to be building long term,
right,
and
right.
it explains a little bit of what you're building, the core, the foundation, your business acumen and everything like that. I think a white paper is good, but roadmap, I think it really depends on the project.
True, very true, very true. I mean, a meme project. I don't really need one, but anything with utility, of course, I want to see how it
Yeah.
works, and where it's going to go, how it's going to help the project. But yeah, just things like that. So I definitely miss white papers and stuff like that. But I do hope that this space, as we move towards Web 4, I really do hope that we take the premise, or I'm sorry, that we take the path that Web 2 didn't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spaces that about, what did we forget in Web 2 and how can we bring it to Web 3? I don't want to have any Web 4 spaces about what we forgot in Web 3. There should not. We already made the mistake. We've already learned from it. If we make it again, then it's on us. Like we can't. We literally have spaces and trends and titles every day. What do we forget in Web 2, and how can we transition it? Okay, well, we made that mistake once. So building towards Web 4, let's learn how to build together. Whether you're a project founder, regardless of chain, regardless of code, whatever the case may be, there is a solution coming out, a blockchain solution that's going to come out. If not, we can build, somebody can build it, or you can build it yourself, or it can be built. The code exists to be able to connect us all, right? That's all it's going to take, is for us to start building together towards the same direction, as opposed to just kind of spiraling out and building all crazy and going haywire with it. And now we have just a spider web of L2s that nobody uses. It's sad to say. I mean, it's the truth. The L2s is the biggest failure. I think L2s got more rugs than Solana. I mean, they're probably neck and neck.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I don't want, is a bunch of tech we're not going to use, because now we have so much tech out there. We have problems onboarding newbies because we don't know where to start to explain. We're like, well, so what do you know? That's what that's the worst conversation to have. So tell me what you know about crypto, so I'll know where to start. And that's kind of a broad question. That's like, well, tell me. Basically, you're asking, tell me how many rows you've been through, because I'll know where to start. That kind of, so I'll know how to coach you. But I mean, yeah, I
I've
hate
been through a lot.
right. I mean, so that's why I hate having to ask that question. It should be a fundamental point or a focal point that we're all kind of unified on, to be
Yeah.
able to bring. And I would love to be able to see that towards a Web 4, or a more unified Web 4. Like I said, these chains weren't meant to be connected, but we can actually, now that the code is being interoperable and we're able to kind of find these solutions, we can make that happen if we learn to build together first. It's going to start with the people, and we're going to carry it into a more interoperable technological Web 4. And that's my take on it.
Love that. Okay, so years from now, what do you want your contribution to this space to be remembered for?
Oh man, good question, Leslie. Good question. Oh wow. Leaving it cleaner than how I found it.
Leave it. Okay, elaborate on that.
Leaving it cleaner. Every space that I do, I say one of our main goals is to leave this space a little cleaner than, and a little safer than how we found it, because we are brothers and sisters keepers. I've said that on a million spaces, and I've done God knows how many. So that's what I want. That's what I want to leave behind. A little. I want to clean up not only my mess, but maybe a few other messes, and help educate some people, and just leave it a little safer and cleaner than how I found it. That way, someone can take what they've learned and pass it on to the next person, because that's all it is word of mouth. We're all just talking and communicating. So if we can educate the next person and make sure that they've got a clean and clear message to talk to the next person, then remember the game we used to play in elementary school where you said one thing in the kid's ear and it went around the circle and it
Oh
came
yeah.
out completely different, right? So we need to work on that. We need to make sure that when we say it in one ear, project's ear, it comes out the next holder's ear on the other side of the circle, the same thing. So that's the
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, so I want to do, before we close up, a rapid fire with you.
okay.
So, first word that comes out of, well, just that you think of, okay?
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Builder or operator?
Builder,
Community first or product first?
community,
Bull market confidence or bear market discipline?
bull market confidence,
Loud timelines or quiet work?
quiet work,
Conviction or consensus?
conviction,
Trust earned slowly or lost quickly?
slowly.
Walk away or fight it out?
Mm, that's a good one. Fight it out.
Teach publicly or mentor privately?
No, no, teach publicly. Always teach publicly.
Consistency or creativity?
Consistency,
Legacy or impact?
legacy, because you can have a million impacts that'll build your legacy.
I like that. Okay, so with that being said, are there any last words, parting words, or any advice you want to leave the viewers, the audience with?
No, thank you so much. I see you, Tammy, in the comments. I love you too. Thank you for showing up, and everybody else, and of course you, Leslie. Biggest shout out ever. I know we've been friends for some time now, and I know you've been trying to get me on these things, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I was a little nervous at first, but you're, of course, a very calming, soothing aesthetic to it. So I got to definitely point that out. So for any future guests, it's not that bad. Please get on with this lady as soon as you can. She's an absolute dream and a doll to work with. So if you haven't linked up and connected with her, please do. Absolute legend in the space, and I couldn't be more honored to be here tonight. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, 21, for coming on tonight. We're going unscripted with us. And for everyone that is watching, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, thank you,
To
guys.
all of the people in the comments. And thank you for being vulnerable and talking about, how everything moves so fast, and how we forget even faster. And then, you reminding us, about the longevity that comes from people first thinking honest onboarding and communities, built with care instead of shortcuts. So I really do appreciate for everything that you're doing.
Definitely, I'm definitely not done building yet. So I've got a lot more to do. So I'm gonna blow y'all's minds here pretty soon. But yeah, it's definitely we got some things coming. So definitely stay tuned and keeping the loop and definitely just hit us up, man, if you want to talk onboarding.
Absolutely. And with that being said, everybody stay unscripted and do what you want and build a cleaner, safer blockchain world like 21 said. Bye,
Yes.
everyone. Hasta la vista.